Fact or fiction, fiction or fact. These are actually not states that you have to choose between. Rather, they are two sides of the same coin that you are the observer of. And when you know you are the observer of these two states, which are two sides of the same coin, you're in command of them. So this is going to really help your understanding of this work, which Neville frames as imagination creates reality, and the relationship between fact and fiction proves that that is correct. So that's what we're doing today. My name is Hedley and I'm a Law of Assumption coach here on YouTube, and I am so happy you are here. If you would like to know more about me or my offerings, including one-to-one coaching and my brand new course, Recreate a Specific Person, you will find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. As I just mentioned in my little introduction, I have just launched my brand new course, Recreate a Specific Person, which is just the title. And of course, the course is all about recreating your consciousness in relation to your specific person, because when you recreate your consciousness, you recreate the version of your specific person. And a specific person is not just a love interest. It's anyone in your reality who causes you to forget who you are, which is the infinite I am, which is the observer, and therefore the one in command of your reality. So this course is going to bring you back into the correct state of consciousness, remind you who you are and what your specific person is here reflecting back. The specific person is probably one of my favorite topics because it will bring you back into relationship with your infinite I amness, and that is what is going to change the game. So this course is something I am really proud of. It works. I've got years of evidence, not only in my work with my clients, but also my reality. This is the process I use most. It is a deeper process to the I am technique. So if you love the I am technique, you will love this course. So please do check that out. All of the links are in the box below this video, and the people who have already gone through it, I've had a number of people already gone through it. They already finished, which is amazing. And the feedback has been fantastic, which I'm really thrilled about. So thank you to everyone who has already purchased and completed the course. And also there is a community page, which is already active. People are already on there communicating, asking questions. And so that just adds another layer of value to what you are getting when you do purchase the course. So please do go check that out. And now let's get into today's video. Today, I really wanted to break down the relationship between fact and fiction, because these two states are two sides of the same coin. They work together in unison. However, we don't see these two states as two sides of the same coin. We see them as two states that are in opposition to each other that we have to choose between. Fact or fiction. Fiction or fact. When we view fact and fiction through the lens of opposition, we will be subject to the cyclical nature of these two states, meaning one will dominate the other for a period of time, a number of centuries, until the other will rise up and then the order will change. Why this is important is because if we are not in relationship with fact and fiction as two sides of the same coin working in unison, we will be subject to these opposing states in our reality. And this will not be the first time that that has happened. So, in order to understand this very important relationship, we have to take a trip back through human history to the beginning of time, where fiction was seen as a way of conveying truth. This is pre-writing. Storytelling was used as a way to teach and to pass down the truths of the culture. Fact and fiction were very much in unison. They were siblings. They worked together. However, fiction was valued over fact, and that's because fact had a very different definition prior to the 16th century than it does today, which we will get to. And then around the 16th century, something began to change, where fiction began to lose its value. It was no longer seen as a way of conveying truth, was rather seen as something that was aligned with falsehood and illusion and delusion. And fact started to take the place of fiction with the scientific revolution and the industrial age, meaning that which can be proven in reality was of a higher value to anything fictional or in the imagination. So the imagination and the art of storytelling and myth really lost its value, it lost credibility, and it was cast aside. Fact took top billing, and it has held that top spot up until pretty much around today, the 21st century. Now, we have just come out of a cycle where fact has been dominant and fact has been valued over fiction. We are now in the new iteration of the cycle, the new fictional age, where fiction dominates over fact. The age of information and imagination. Fact no longer holds the same value it once did. So this is the age of AI. This is the age of fake news. This is the age of people imitating other people. This is the age of catfishing. We are now living in a new fictional age. That is done. It's happened. Fact is no longer dominant. You cannot look out there and 100% trust that what you are seeing is fact. If you're not in command of this cycle, you are going to be subject to the fiction that is being reflected back in reality. And that fiction is going to be negatively geared because reality is negative positive. It's negatively biased. And we're all seeing it. The rise of scammers, the rise of people using AI to imitate somebody else, the dating apps where people can just be anyone and lie about anything. We are in the fictional age. So the question then becomes, okay, well, how do I get out of this cycle so that I'm not subject to the iterations of the cycle? Well, very good question. I'm going to answer that right now. In order to get out of this fact or fiction, fiction or fact cycle, it's important to see these two states as two sides of the same coin. And it's important to know which one comes first. We have valued fact over fiction for hundreds and hundreds of years. Even though fiction and fact are two sides of the same coin, fiction comes first and fact is the reflection of fiction. Consciousness is the one and only reality. Reality is the reflection of consciousness. Fiction is the one and only fact, and fact is the reflection of fiction. Fiction comes before fact. Fact follows fiction, and there is evidence to support that, and that evidence is etymological. Yes, I did practice that word before saying it. Etymological. In other words, etymology, which is the study of language, and language is one of, if not the first expression of consciousness, which is why we can find the evidence to support this in etymology when we go back and we look at the history, the origins of these words, and which one came first. So let's take a look at where this word's fact and fiction actually came from. Fiction, late 14th century, derives from fictio, a fashioning, forming, or feigning, which derives from fingere, to form, shape, or invent. Fact, on the other hand, comes from mid-15th century, which is almost 100 years after fiction. It comes from Latin factum, a thing done, deed, from facere, to do, make. It wasn't until the late 16th to early 17th centuries that fact took on the sense of a thing known to be true in reality, which is how we define fact today. So fact originally meant a deed, to do, an action, which also supports that it came second to fiction, meaning fiction is the idea and the fact is the action inspired from that idea, which causes that idea to manifest in reality. The whole point of this video is for you to understand that fiction comes before fact. And why that's important is because if you are valuing the facts of your reality over your fiction, then you are going to be subject to the fiction in reality. You want to be giving more attention, more time, more energy to your fiction. You all know the facts of your reality. You know the facts of your money situation. You know the facts of your relationships. You know the facts of your home life. You know the facts of your health. Most people are aware of all of the facts in your reality. When you are in command of your fiction, meaning the stories that you're telling about yourself and your life and your reality, you are going to see your reality reflect back that fiction in facts. Your reality will be driven by your fiction, not the fiction that's happening out there. I'll give you a more practical example. Let's take AI. AI is neutral, and the reason it's neutral is it's artificial intelligence. The name itself suggests that it is based in reality. However, even though it is neutral because it's negative positive, it is negatively geared. So if you are not in command of the story you're telling about AI, you are going to be subject to the negatively geared story of AI that is coming from reality. You will hear more dystopian views of AI rather than the utopian views of AI, which also exist. AI is subject to the observer. And if you are not in command of your observership, which is the stories that you're telling from your consciousness, then you will be subject to the collective observer, which is negatively geared. You will be seeing and hearing a more dystopian view of AI and how it's going to impact humanity. But AI is negative positive. It is both dystopian and it is utopian. The one observing AI is the one who decides which experience you have of AI, which means you have to be fictional about your story of AI. You have to be the one choosing what AI is before AI reflects it back to you. So if you're allowing those dystopian stories to determine your view of AI, that is the experience you will have of AI. You will have a dystopian view of AI, and you will hear more evidence to support that. If you would like AI to be utopian, to assist humanity and to help humanity, then you must make a conscious decision to tell that story first before you see evidence of that in reality. And then the evidence of the utopian aspect of AI will be reflected back. More personally, one of the things that I would invite you to do is to look at each area of your life and become aware of the fictional stories or the fictional facts you would like to see true in all of those areas. You want to be paying more attention to your fiction. What is your fiction in terms of money? What are the fictional facts of your relationship with money? What are the fictional facts in your relationships? What are the fictional facts that you want to see in your home story? What are the fictional facts that you want to see more of in your family story or in your friend's story or in your work story? Whatever story, any area of your reality. What is your fiction? We all know what the facts are. The facts are obvious. They're already in reality. And if you are only relying on your facts, you're going to see more of the same facts. Fiction comes first and facts follow fiction. So you want to pay more attention to your fiction. Get fictional, get creative, get imaginative. Go into your imagination and ask yourself, what is it that I would like to be seeing in this area? Write yourself a story or just list it out. And then once you've done that, put that list or that story into I am. Because when you put something into I am, you bring it into the now, and essentially you're claiming and commanding that that state is already happening now, which it is because all creation is already finished, and fiction is all there is. Fiction is the one and only fact, and fact is the reflection of fiction. And fiction comes from your imagination. Now is the time to be valuing fiction. Fiction is already here. It has already gazumped fact. You cannot look out into reality and trust what you are seeing. And if you are not in command of your fiction, you will experience the negative side of fiction. You have to be the one that governs your consciousness, your fiction first. Pay attention. This is essentially about you choosing the fiction that you want to see as fact in your reality, whether it's at a personal level or a global level. And of course, I've got this far into the video and I haven't even mentioned the relationship between fiction and non-fiction. Non-fiction was a term that came into being 500 years after fiction through the publishing industry, which was a way to determine something that was unlike fiction books that it had. So it created the term non-fiction. It didn't create the term fact. It used the term non-fiction because there is an understanding at a deep conscious level that fiction comes first, non-fiction, not fiction. The state that comes out of fiction to give the contrasting experience of fiction. Again, it's just another piece of evidence to support the fact that fiction comes first, fact comes second, and fact means to do, not what is true. Fiction influences the action that you then take. But in order to take that action, you have to know what your fiction is. So take some time to get fictional in all areas of your life. Get imaginative, get delusional, get irrational. Get inside your imagination and create that which is not yet in your reality, and let your fiction lead your facts into existence, and that is what will happen. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for being the infinite I am and remembering you are the infinite I am, because by you remembering who you are essentially waking up everyone else around you. Have a beautiful week. I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Get fictional. Bye.